everybody, and welcome back to the Sumrok Studios. I'm your host, Carl Dean, and today we have two special guests with us. We have Bonnie and Kerry Staples from the program. Welcome to the show, you guys.
Hey,
Thanks for having us.
I appreciate you coming. I
Absolutely.
know you're very busy people. Every time I talk to you, you're underwriting a deal, looking at a deal, visiting a deal, managing a deal. It's always something about a deal. So you obviously are in this program, applying yourselves very thoroughly on a daily basis. Is that right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah.
All
Day
right.
in, day out. We're full
Full throttle.
100%. Yes.
So let me ask you this. Let's dive into a little bit about your guys' history. So what did you both do before this world of multifamily investing with the Sumroks?
Yeah, so I worked with Merrill Lynch in wealth management. So I was in other type of investments with stocks, bonds, mutual funds, annuities, insurance.
Mm-hmm.
So I had done that for 33 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
I'd like to tell everybody I started when I was 3, and I want you to believe that. So,
That's awesome.
Loved my job, loved what I did, never thought I would ever do anything else, and then along came multifamily. So,
Really?
yeah.
What about you, Kerry?
And I was in IT. I worked for IBM for about 20 years, a little over 20 years. And, you know, me, I unlike her, I did love my job when it first started, but in the IT, it became a kind of a grind and we're always cutting and having layoffs, and that's one thing that really launched us into getting into multifamily was I did get laid off, and then I had to go find another job at McAfee, and then I ended up back at IBM to finish out my career. But that traumatic layoff during that period was like, hey, we got to do something different. We can't just count on the man to keep paying us this check because you never know when they decide they don't want you anymore.
It gets a little scary there with
Yeah.
how competitive the market is, right?
Absolutely.
That's nothing makes you perk up like having your back against the wall.
That's right.
I've been
Exactly.
there, buddy. So I could definitely relate. So that's awesome. So you both came from corporate backgrounds, long-term careers in those spaces. Did you have any real estate investing experience before you got turned on to this multifamily investing stuff?
Well, we had done single family.
Okay.
So we were on the route of buying single family and thinking that we would one day graduate and move to multifamily,
Okay.
and we were actually part of a program that actually taught that. And then when we found Brad, and he said, "Oh no, you don't need to do that." We're like, "Yes, I don't have to go that route." So it's a lot of work because we were self-managing as well.
Oh, wow.
So,
Wow.
so as soon as we took the plunge to multifamily, we started liquidating those, and we now I'm proud to say, only have one single family still.
Got to keep one in the family, you know.
Well,
Yeah.
not really.
Yeah.
Essentially, we have a great renter, and when she moves out, we'll
Yeah.
sell. But at this point, the market's been great. We've got a great renter, and so.
That's good. That's
Yeah.
good.
But
You don't have to wait for her to move out, by the way. Eh?
No, we
I
could.
know, I know.
She's a good
I know
tenant,
she
That's
is.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Soak that up while you can.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
But when me and Bonnie got married, we were always both individually interested in real estate. And when we got married, we kind of took our first 2 houses, turned those into rent houses, bought us a house, and then we acquired a couple of others. And then the other thing that we quickly realized was this is going to take us a long time to acquire enough single family to be able to retire.
Yeah.
So that was another thing that also pushed us towards multifamily. It was just as much work finding these single families.
Yeah.
Almost. I mean,
Well,
maybe not quite as much. You have more to pick from, but it was pretty tough to find good deals on the single family
Absolutely.
to make them work as well.
And then having to deal with all the contractors and everything, and if you're self-managing,
Oh yes.
I can imagine. Yeah,
Oh,
that's
yes.
quite a workload there.
Yes.
So how long ago did you guys stumble upon Brad?
It'll actually be 5 years
5 years now.
in July.
Okay,
That's
so
correct.
just to give the wow factor, 5 years ago you met Brad. How many units do you guys own today?
Today we own over 6,500 units.
Over 6,500 units. And
Yes.
how many did you own when you met Brad? Zero.
Zero.
That.
Zero.
That
we
is
ordered.
insane.
We had 4 units, a single family.
Yeah, single family. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's changed your life. It looks like.
Absolutely.
I mean, I always see you guys at the events. I mean, we just had another interview, and I say the same thing over and over again. It's about how much you apply yourself. It's about how serious you take this. Some people take it as, you know, a part-time thing that they're kind of interested in, more like a hobby, and others take it and run with it. I mean, that's the differentiator. I think you guys definitely do well with that because I haven't been to an event where I haven't seen your faces, so that's good.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, we love attending the events because we love sharing our story with other investors that are out there to let you know that real people can make it happen.
Yeah.
You do have to put in the work,
Yeah.
but you need to get, good training and good mentorship and then apply yourself.
Yeah, there's nothing more rewarding than seeing your words help other people and inspire other people, right? And then you see them grow up in the business.
Oh,
absolutely.
absolutely.
That's the best.
We celebrate their success
That's
as well.
awesome.
But we both did our first deal both working. We were still working. We didn't just one of us quit and start doing this full time. We were both still full time jobs while we were.
When did you syndicate your first deal?
That was.
It took us about 18 months before we found our first deal, and then once we did find the first deal, because I did work with, I was a FINRA employee, so I have my Series 763, all my licenses.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so with all that, I had to be very careful. Although Merrill Lynch knew that I was looking at multifamily and knew that's what I was doing, but once I became a syndicator, it's almost a conflict of interest.
Oh, wow.
Being able to, buy real estate and not be buying mutual funds. So they want you to buy their stuff, not the other things. So so once
You're not buying the cooking, right? You're eating out.
Exactly. So once we found our first deal, and we made a decision, we made a business plan of our own for me to quit my job. And my boss was actually retiring too, so it was a perfect timing,
Right.
So I actually gave a notice and quit so that I could just full time concentrate on doing multifamily. And with all that, we took a step back with income, but we knew that also eventually it would pay off. And eventually we've replaced my income, and then we've now since then replaced Kerry's as well.
Yeah, and the other thing though that was the other piece to that was then that would also allow us to tie into her 401k money. We could roll that over and then invest that as well. So that's was another
a good point.
reason.
I'm glad you guys mentioned that, because that's something that a lot of people feel like, oh, I can't do that. I don't have that kind of money. But if you have a 401k and you've been, working for 30 years, you sure enough got enough money to get into this business.
Right, and then also just, I quit in the first quarter of the year, so we did this all strategically, right? So I quit, April 1st was my last day. So that gave me 3 quarters of the year to be a real estate professional. Okay, so you have to have more time as a real estate professional than you do as a W-2 employee, so that you can have those write-offs and be able to take advantage of all the deductions that are available as a real estate professional as well.
Huge.
So even though my income became less, we actually kept more in our pocket.
Exactly.
Which is really what it's about at the end of the day.
Absolutely. So I'm not going to ask you how much you guys make on an annual basis, but let's just say you weren't real estate professionals. How much taxes would you say you'd be paying if you weren't taking advantage of the system, how Brad has taught it?
Well, so what I will tell you is that now that we are able to capture all the deductions as a real estate investor, our tax bill this year was 0. Compared to what we were paying.
You're paying less than the guy who's making $15 an hour working at McDonald's.
Exactly.
Which is unbelievable.
Exactly.
I'm just so happy for you guys. Honestly,
it's amazing.
It's so inspiring to meet everyday people who have jobs and stumble onto this business and blossom like this. I mean, it's really, that's why I work with Brad. That's why I work with the Sumroks, because it's like, at the end of the day, I just love what he's doing for people.
Absolutely.
I mean, how can you not believe in that?
Yeah.
So talk to me about just kind of your progression. Did you guys invest first in like passive investors? Were you foundations members first and then personal mentoring? How did that work?
No, we started straight out as personal because we knew we wanted to be because we actually paid for the multifamily over in the other program too, so we knew we wanted to go multifamily. So when we came to Brad's event, at that time it was a free event for his R2R, and we sat through that. And when we were in that, we were like, that was the light bulb. We were like, man, all this what he's covering in this 2-day is all the stuff that I wanted to learn from the other group that they weren't giving me that information. I just learned that in his little R2R. That's how much information. So we were like, well, this is a no-brainer. We're going to have to sign up over here. But we knew we wanted to be sponsors, so we signed up to that level right out of the gate. Now, the scary factor was, which and I laugh now, hindsight, but at the time you're like, is there enough deals out there for everyone? It's everyone's a question, right? And I asked Brad the same question, and of course, he gives the same answer. In general, that the abundance, there's plenty of deals out there for everyone. You just have to go after and get it. But Now that I'm doing it, I'm like, hey, there's so many deals I can't even look at them. So it's like, it's almost a funny question to me now. But at the time, you know, you don't know. So you're kind of going in with that question. But yeah, so we started out with that as the program, and then we did passive deals, like maybe 5 or 6 passive deals while we were looking at that. But the other thing we learned is being a passive investor, you learned a lot from the reports you got. You learned a lot from how the other sponsors were doing.
Yeah, dealing with different sponsors, right?
Dealing with that, dealing with their underwriting that they did on their deals, so they make you better as an underwriter to where you can eventually find your own deal. So
how they communicate to the investors.
Exactly.
You know,
You
so
pick up little
learn
things.
a
How they
lot.
raise the money. What, do they do a webinar? Do they do this? How do they report?
Right.
Right. Kind of. It helps you
Absolutely.
conform to like this is what we're gonna do.
Yeah, you
What we
take-
liked and what we didn't like.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say, from the good and the bad,
Yeah.
because you take away the parts that you like, add that to your business plan, and the stuff you don't, you just let that go by.
See,
So-
that's a smart piece of advice, guys. I want you to really, really hone in on that and rewind this for 15 seconds and listen to that again, because number one, we need more passive investors. Everybody's caught wind of what we're doing here, and everybody seems to want to join this personal mentoring. We need more passive investors who are wanting to invest in these deals. Talk to me about some of the passive deals that you did do when you're trying out different sponsors, which I highly recommend, because again, it's good to have better sample size. What kind of returns did you get as a passive investor in some of those deals?
Well, so we're in a total of 38 deals. So yeah, so we have quite we have quite a bit, just keeping track of that. But some of those, of course, are the ones that we've sponsored. So about 30 of those are passive, and the others are what we have actually done. And so you know, those range from, you know, from up to 12% that they projected, but then we have some that have gone full cycle already, and you know, less
what
than,
about
you
the
know,
full cycle?
full cycle.
like we had a 150% rate of return in 3 years. Another one was probably maybe, you know, I guess on a lower side would maybe a 60% in a 2-year window.
But in 2 years,
So
that's still.
I mean, so
Beats the market any
yeah.
day,
Well,
right?
and the funny thing is with this market and what we've seen, that would be considered one that didn't perform that well. But I mean, I'm not complaining; those are great returns.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Yeah, no, I mean I'm glad you pointed that out, because number one, I think people are getting a little bit spoiled.
yeah.
I know.
Because I've heard so many stories of people doubling, tripling their money, and it's like that's great, right? Like that's amazing, but I wouldn't set that as the expectation for a lot of
Exactly.
people.
Right.
Exactly.
But what's really powerful with you guys is the fact that you do have the background. You said you have a Series 7, which, to be honest, I knew you worked at Merrill Lynch, but I didn't realize you had a Series 7. And you had
Yeah.
all this information, all this knowledge on selling stocks.
Right.
And you decided to invest in apartments because obviously, look, there's nobody who knows really what's going on better than someone who was in your position. And the fact that you took it upon yourself to learn how to invest in multifamily, and now you're sitting on so many units, it's like there is no war of what's a better deal.
Absolutely.
I mean, you have
Absolutely.
a tangible insured asset you could drop a bomb on tomorrow and I'm getting paid.
Absolutely.
Right? Versus something drops a bomb on my stock market investments and it's not going to be a pretty day for
Yeah.
anybody,
Yeah.
right? That's just, there really is no comparison. And I'm glad that you mentioned that you have that Series 7, because that helps people understand. Like, this isn't a staged conversation here. They came in 5 minutes ago, we sat down and I said, I just want to talk to you about your story. I mean, that's amazing.
Well, on that point is, so, you know, we lived through the 2008 where we had our 401k money there, and that, again, that's what we were always taught, investing your, and we lost half of that. I mean,
Really?
because it's all in the market. So, you know, of course, you know, we let it creep back up, or we rolled a lot of it over into multifamily, but
We weren't going to let that happen again.
yeah, we weren't going to let that happen again, because that's the whole key. It's like, if you can maintain your principal, that's almost the most important, is you got to maintain that first. And when you look at the market, people get confused because it goes up and down, up and down. Oh, I'm making 20%. Yeah, but you were down 30 last year,
Exactly.
you know, so
Yeah.
you got to average
You
that
have a
out.
bipolar investment.
Yeah.
Doesn't know if it's happy or sad.
Yeah.
It changes
I
from
mean,
day to day.
trust me, there's people that make money in the market, and that's
Of course.
fine. But you know, it's most people. You know, you gotta kind of look at the averages, and they don't, and that's where,
Well-
like, and to your point, this is a tangible thing that you can hold on
You can
to.
see, feel, and you're
it's-
doing good things for the community.
Absolutely.
Best
That's
part.
huge, right? You're doing good things for the communities. I know you guys do all kinds of stuff on your properties for the children, just all kinds of cool. Talk about some of the cool stuff that you guys do personally, like with staff or whatever. I know you guys put a little bit more touch and feel into that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that to me, that's the best part of our business, you know, is
Really?
being able to make a difference in the lives. And so when we started building our business plan of what we wanted to do and how we wanted to affect our products, we came up with our motto, which is improving communities and connecting families. And what that means is we go in there and make the property a nicer looking property, a nicer feeling property, and hopefully a safer, even though, you know, we can't guarantee that. But then also we enjoy connecting the families, and we do that by having community events, so the events the tenants can all come together and commune together. We have events, you know, for, you know, the typical, you know, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter, but we also do school drives to make sure that the children actually have backpacks and pens and papers to get to
Really?
school, to go to school with.
At the
Yeah.
apartment complex. Really nice
Yeah,
stuff, man.
yeah. I mean, and it just makes them feel so loved and cared for. You know, we have a game, like one of the first things that we did is we had all these games in our game closet that our kids had grown up and outgrown, some that were still had wrappers on them, you know, and I took them to our first apartment complex and I said, these are for our kids here, let's have a game night. And they had a game night, and the kids, I mean, they just loved it, you know. So it's just building that community. Also just having things like Mother's Day cookout. Well, the mothers actually cook the food. All we do is supply the paper goods and the drinks, and it again brings that community together.
Yeah.
And what
Loyalty.
and what we found is that they're telling their family and their friends, and they want their neighbors
wanna
to be their
yeah,
families,
yeah.
you know. And then that keeps that loyalty of your tenants on base, because you're loving them, you're caring for them, and then they have
Couldn't
their
agree
loved
more.
ones around you. So it's.
I'm a huge
worked
advocate of
well.
that. I think it makes a world of difference.
Yeah.
It makes your staff happy. It
Oh, yeah.
lets them know that they care. They feel far more loyal to you when that's the case, right? They don't want to step out and take another job because it's another job. They're like, well, you know, these people are really good people, and I enjoy where I'm at.
Exactly.
You know? So it's-
And that's the deals with the staff also being able to be connected to the tenants like that. They feel like they're making a difference as well,
Yeah.
and so they have that connection as
and you
well.
get good
So-
staff that way. I think you probably get some really good
Absolutely.
people in place.
They're loyal.
And then back to the security piece, though, I mean, we do put cameras on all of our properties, but the other thing is by doing that community and building that community, they do start to talk to the staff.
Oh, yeah.
And so it very quickly is apparent who is the people that we don't want on the property. And then, you know, we get
It
those
helps
off.
weed them out. Yeah, exactly.
Very quickly.
That helps in every single way. When you do good things for people,
Yep.
it helps in so many ways. Like you can't even add it up. You're
Yep.
like, you don't even see it.
Oh, you
right?
don't
Exactly.
know. You don't
It
know.
weeds all the BS to the top and everything. You know what I mean? It's
Yep.
just like, it's very, very cool. So let's talk about this. There's a lot of people out there who look at these type of programs, Brad's program specifically, and they're on the fence. You know, like I have friends from Michigan, my hometown, and they see some of my posts, and they see me at these events, and they see even these interviews, and they're like, I don't understand. How could I really ever do that? What would be your advice to somebody who looks at that and just looks and sees the mountain and says, how could I ever really do that?
I mean, mine would be first thing is you got to come to an
You gotta
event and
come.
get some educating and see
Just
how.
come to the
just
event.
come
Just
to the
come.
event.
Spend the
see-
97 or whatever.
Spend the $100 and get a tiny little piece of education around some multifamily that you're going to see how this is done, how other people are doing it, and hear some stories. First thing, you know, see it and see what other people are doing. And then the second is it the first thing that happens is most people think, oh, I got to have $1 million, $2 million,
Yeah.
$3 million. And when you learn this process of how to syndicate a deal, you realize if you can buy 2 single-family houses, you can invest in these type of deals, or even one. You know, and be a passive investor and start going down the road. Or I mean, there's other ways to team up with people. And so where there's a will, there's a way, and that's where it's the Brad's ready, fire, aim. You got to come out and you got to take some action. You start doing some actions. Next thing you know, you say this is very tangible and easy to do, and that's basically what we did. Now our backs weren't against the wall when we were interested in it, but for us to really take some action is when I got laid off. We go, hey, we got to really get on this and start taking some action, and that's what really motivated us. And that's the same for most people. They got to have something to motivate.
Yeah, you're right.
Got to have something to motivate them.
It's all just a really cool idea until someone says, hey, you don't have income coming in anymore, but you have this big 401k sitting here. You need to do something right away.
Yeah, but you really sort of have to make a plan that works for you.
Yeah.
Everybody's plan and everybody's path is different. And so I think that you just need to sit down with your significant other and develop that plan and see what that looks like. And then don't try to tackle the whole mountain
Yeah,
in one
that's true.
bite. You know, so just take the little steps at a time, and one at a time, and then as you look back, then you're going to realize, oh my goodness, look how far we've come.
Yeah.
And that's how we are right now. We're like, oh my, I never thought that we would be this far.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So, but you just
Keep
take
chugging.
one step at a time, and before you know it, you'll be way
Yeah.
up that mountain and not
Yeah,
even realize it.
I agree. So, Ruth, before we end, I want to know, what do you think is the real differentiator between you guys and some of the other people, whether they're successful or not? What do you think really made you stand out in the group? Because obviously you're like, you're some of the A-team players here now. You've been here for a long time. You've done a lot of deals. You've really had a lot of success. What do you think really attributed to that success in the program?
I think one of the things that, just make sure that you're true and you're honest with what your heart is. So, our passion is, to do the events and improve the communities. And a lot of people have also grasped on that too, also. So we're not the only ones that do that. But just, be upfront and be honest and be transparent. I think that's just huge, because we're in it for the long haul. So you don't, your reputation is everything.
Yep.
So I think that's something that's really
Be
really
authentic.
important to us.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. I mean, being transparent and just, but like you said, Carl, we worked hard at this. I mean, we're at every event. We're constantly building our passive database. We're trying to get out as much as we can to keep building that reputation, as well as we make sure that we're doing conservative underwriting. We're not going too fast. We're not just out trying to buy every deal. We're trying to be a steady Eddie, but let's make sure that we're performing on ours, because it only takes that one deal that doesn't go right that it can
Cost you. Yeah,
So
a lot of confidence.
So we take a lot of pride in that. We're managing ultimately other people's money they're giving us in this project. So I want to protect their money and make sure that it's a successful deal for their money. So. I think that's another. I mean, not that others don't do that, because hopefully they all are doing that. But that's something that we really, really take a lot of pride in.
That's good, man. You guys are both very, very inspiring people and of great character. So I couldn't be happier to have you here. Thank you so much for
Thank you
coming.
so
Appreciate
much.
it.
It's great
Appreciate
to be
having
here.
us.
Thank you
Thank you,
for
Kerry.
having us here.
Thank you so much, guys. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode here in the Sumrok Studios. We look forward to having many, many more of our students and our service providers here in the studio, so we can deliver amazing knowledge and gold nuggets to you week after week, time after time. If you ever have any questions, please comment in the comment box below. Please like the video if you liked it or if you enjoyed it. And don't forget to subscribe to Brad's YouTube. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.